Have you ever noticed that some people can turn any conversation into a mental gym workout where suddenly you are questioning your entire existence, your career choices, and why you thought pineapple on pizza was a good idea in the first place? Welcome to the art of philosophical questioning, the ancient mind hack that turns small talk into a full-blown consciousness expansion device. And before you roll your eyes and say, "Oh great, another self-help lecture," let me assure you, this is not the kind of questioning where your aunt at family dinner asks when you are getting married. This is the Socratic method, the ancient Greek invention that turns conversations into psychological parkour, and if you master it, you can literally bend reality, or at least how people perceive it. So, what is philosophical questioning? Imagine conversation as a game of chess, except instead of moving pieces, you are moving thoughts, and instead of checkmate, you are aiming for that glorious moment when the other person pauses, stares at nothing, and whispers, "Whoa, I never thought about it like that." The Greeks called it the Socratic method, named after Socrates, a guy who never wrote a single book, owned 0 TikTok followers, and still managed to be one of the most influential minds in history. His secret? He asked questions so sharp they could slice through the thickest nonsense like a hot knife through philosophical butter. Now here is the plot twist. Socratic questioning is not about showing how smart you are. It is about guiding someone else to discover truth on their own. That is the magic. You are not just handing them an answer. You are building them a ladder so they can climb to it themselves. Because when someone reaches an insight on their own, it hits harder, sticks longer, and transforms how they see the world. Think about the last time you figured something out without Google. Remember that victorious fist pump? That is the feeling philosophical questioning aims to create every time. So how does this actually transform reality? Well, reality is not just what is out there. It is also how you interpret it. Two people can see the exact same event, like a man in a bear costume chasing a duck through a supermarket, and have totally different realities. One sees chaos, the other sees the beginning of the greatest YouTube video ever made. Philosophical questioning changes reality by changing the lens through which you look at the world, and it works on yourself as much as on others. In modern life, this is basically a superpower. You can use it on a date when someone says, "I just want someone real." Instead of nodding like everyone else, you ask, "What does being real mean to you?" Boom. The conversation just went from polite small talk to an existential TED Talk over tacos. You can use it in a meeting when your boss says, "We need to innovate." Instead of pretending to take notes, ask, "If our current solution did not exist, how would we solve this problem from scratch?" Congratulations, you just became the person who actually moves the conversation forward instead of the one who suggests adding a synergy calendar no one will use. You can even use it in an argument online. When someone drops an all-caps comment like, "This generation is ruined," instead of firing back with memes, you ask, what would a non-ruined generation look like, and what makes that the standard? Suddenly, the shouting match becomes a discussion, or at least forces them to pause before posting 19 crying laughing emojis. Here is the simple structure of the Socratic method. Step 1. Ask a question that digs into definitions. People throw around words like justice, success, and good vibes as if we all agree on what they mean. We do not. Ask for their definition, and you already have peeled back the first layer of reality. Step 2. Ask about the reasons. Why do you believe that? What led you to that conclusion? This is not to corner them. It is to help them trace their own thinking. Step 3. Look for contradictions. Humans are walking bags of contradictions, and pointing them out gently can cause massive light bulb moments. Like when someone says they value health above all else, then explains their dinner was 3 slices of cake and a Red Bull. Step 4. Explore alternatives. Is there another way to see this? This one is a reality bender because it forces the brain to step outside its own mental walls and peek at the view from somewhere new. What makes this so powerful is not just the logic, it is the effect on consciousness. Neuroscience tells us that when you wrestle with a good question, your brain's default mode network lights up. That is the same brain region involved in self-reflection and imagination. It is like a mental mirror mixed with a 3D printer for ideas. Over time, this practice rewires your thinking so you do not just accept things at face value, you automatically test, explore, and refine them. And when you do this with others, you are basically giving them a free brain upgrade. But there is a catch. You cannot just rapid-fire questions like an interrogation robot. The art is in the tone, timing, and genuine curiosity. If people feel attacked, they shut down faster than a laptop with 2% battery. Socrates himself would ask in a way that made people feel like they were partners in the discovery process, not contestants on who wants to admit they are wrong. You have to balance challenge with encouragement. Think of it like personal training for the mind. A good trainer does not scream, "Do you even lift?" They say, "Let's try one more rep, I bet you can do it." Also, remember that not all questions need to be deep to be transformative. Sometimes a simple, "What makes you say that?" can open a whole hidden universe of thought. Other times, a more playful question can disarm tension and spark creativity, like asking your friend who swears cats are better than dogs. If dogs had the power of speech, what would their main argument be against cats? Now suddenly, you are both imagining a golden retriever delivering a courtroom monologue, and your reality has expanded into the absurd. Another practical tip: aim for open-ended questions. If your question can be answered with yes or no, you have just parked your brain on a one-way street. But if your question starts with how, why, or what, you are opening up a mental playground. Did you like the movie? Shuts it down. What about the movie surprised you? Opens it up. And here's the thing. Philosophical questioning is not just a way to change minds. It is a way to deepen relationships. When you truly listen to someone's answers and build on them with further inquiry, you are telling them, "Your mind matters to me." In a world where most people are just waiting for their turn to talk, that is rare and magnetic. This is why some of the best conversationalists are also the best questioners. They make you feel like you are the most interesting person in the room, even if you are currently explaining your failed sourdough starter experiment. There is also a self-defense benefit here. Asking the right questions can save you from manipulation. If a salesperson says, "This investment has a guaranteed return," your inner Socrates should immediately wake up and ask, "Guaranteed by whom, under what conditions, and with what legal backing?" Suddenly, the scammer is the one sweating. Over time, you will notice that this style of thinking makes you more adaptable. You will be less likely to cling to bad ideas just because they are comfortable, and more willing to upgrade your mental operating system when new evidence comes in. That is how inquiry transforms reality. It is not just about knowing more facts, it is about becoming the kind of person whose reality can expand, shift, and evolve without breaking. And here's the secret bonus. When you master this art, you start asking yourself better questions too. Instead of, "Why does this always happen to me?" you ask, "What assumptions am I making that lead to this outcome?" Instead of, "How can I avoid failure?" you ask, "What would I do if I knew I could recover from failure?" Those questions do not just change how you think, they change the actions you take, which changes your life. So yes, the Socratic method started as an ancient Greek hobby, but in the 21st century, it is a Swiss Army knife for consciousness. Use it in your relationships, your work, your creativity, and even in your late-night inner monologues. Just remember, do it with curiosity, not as a gotcha game, and you will be amazed at how people, and reality itself, open up. To wrap this up, here is your action plan. Start with one conversation today where you replace statements with questions. Be curious, dig into definitions, ask for reasons, explore alternatives, and watch the magic happen. Your goal is not to win, your goal is to expand the space of possible thought. In a world obsessed with having answers, be the person brave enough to ask better questions. And if anyone accuses you of being annoying, just tell them you are doing cognitive sculpting. It sounds fancy and they will probably let you continue. So, my fellow mental gym rats, it is time to put this into practice. Start small, have fun, and watch reality bend in the best ways possible. And now, here is my question for you. What is the most powerful question anyone has ever asked you, and how did it change you? Drop it in the comments, because I am genuinely curious and also shamelessly fishing for engagement. And while you are at it, hit subscribe to XQ, quick, funny explanations, for more fast, funny, and genius-level content delivered at the speed of laughter. Your brain will thank you, and so will future you, who will now be equipped to turn any conversation into a mind-bending journey of discovery.